I'm Scott Chalden.
And I'm Susie Chalden.
And we've been investing for probably, I guess both of us started in 1999, I
Yes.
think. You had a rental property that you get, and I think I did a flip back in 1999. So
We met later in life, so I guess we had already been doing this, building up to this point where we got to the point that we're at.
yeah,
right?
and I guess a lot of study, I think. And actually, I think, I got my first start with actually Carlton Sheets. So it was, actually studying him as far as a real estate type of investing. And then along comes a book that most people know, at least Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. And then Ken McElroy then had a couple of books in his series. So I read those in the middle of the time that I was doing some flips, and learned quickly that I wasn't paying myself enough with doing the flips. So you were the smart one, I think, actually started off with a rental. And then I switched after a few years after that. And then actually then when we got married, we looked at it and we were saying, hey, we've got these single-family home rentals, but we really need to get into the multifamily arena. So
right, and that's where I'd been working 21 years and decided I wanted to retire, and I'd been saving and had gotten some money in real estate that I'd been doing. And so with his knowledge...
Yeah, and then I think that's when we first contacted Ken. I think that was probably back in 2010, I think. So when we were back in 2010, and then...
It took a lot of convincing to take my money and and do this, because I'd been watching too many things about Madoff and all that. And so when we came out for the first summit, I came up to Ken and I did say, I wanted to see if you guys are for real, because I was skeptical. But when I met Ken and all his employees, I was just, everybody was just like a family, and I'm very trusting. And
I guess, well, trust is probably one of them.
Yeah,
I guess that, that's the hardest part. I think, when you've got to trust somebody, when you're going to invest, whether or not that's a company, or if you're going to buy from somebody and you're going to buy, in this case, real estate, even, I guess even if you're going to do paper investing and so forth. But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles to get over. But constant due diligence, I think, and monitoring that, I think, really helps out. Get started earlier, I think, is probably, I think, I don't know, I think I'd suffer a little bit more from analysis paralysis, maybe to a degree,
Right.
That risk,
researching too much sometimes gets in the way, in his way. And
that's true. So I think that's the biggest thing, is probably, taking the leap, start small. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. But once you start, then you get a chance to learn. Then you're not also, taking a too big a leap. There's a few things I think I took a few leaps on that I think on some people and some companies that I tried to invest in many years ago that probably learning from that was I say, nah, don't do that. But start small and start early. Don't let that be a risk or a fear, I guess, to not get started.
And I guess one other thing is, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have put my money in stocks. We got all out. I mean, it's just, that's like gambling compared to being in real estate.
Well, it's true. We got to know a lot more about paper assets. I don't think we, like everybody else, we tend to put our money over, trust somebody that they're going to manage it and do it happen, and usually we never saw the returns. But I guess the traditional education really didn't. So I guess all of that was was after the fact, and I guess we mentioned it, just starting it and taking our knocks and learning by doing.
That goes back to when I was in high school. They were saying put your money in stocks, and in 10 years you're going to have all this money. By the time you retire, you'll have all this money. Well, that wasn't happening, and that was
right.
They don't teach you that in school,
right. And then maybe that's part of the education, because we weren't taught that. I guess with that interest that we had, then you search for
beyond.
You search for other things, and whether or not it was Kiyosaki with his books that really resonated with me, and then with Ken's books and everything else that Ken's provided as well. I think that that helps you get over that curve. Once you know a little bit more, you feel like, okay, I'm over this hurdle, and I I can do a little more. I don't know. I think that we've been investing with Ken in MC Companies, since 2010. So,
10, yes. And that's the year I got to retire. So that's how it's impacted me.
yeah, that's true.
We love you, Ken.
Yeah. So I think that everybody's been doing a good job, and I think that's the important thing. I think it's a bit. He's put together a great team.
Great team.
Him and Ross have done a great job. So I think that it's impacted us so that we were able to step back a little bit and let a good team make sure they work our money and they do a phenomenal job at managing the assets that we're involved with. And so I think it's been a tremendous thing that we've had. So
yes.
we appreciate it.
We do.